What's the goal? The goal loops
For national,
for nationals.
I'm on the National Cub Scout committee. I'm a volunteer for them for the last 3 years. About the last 5 years, they've been gathering data from everybody to start the process of changing the program and improving it and getting data to make decisions for all the cancellations of some of the electives or addition to the electives or changing the.
I'm sure we'll get to this, but I just gotta ask about
Absolutely. Was that
whittling chip.
woodland chip?
Yeah, I didn't see it in the bear program.
It is in the bear program, the Weebo program, and the AOL program. It's a different requirement each time, so it's not just a Weaver or whittling chip. You gotta earn it like Bobcat every year. You go over safety, and there's additional age appropriate safety requirements for each of them. Pretty much what they're still debating is if your whittling chip that no longer exists, if there's going to be a certificate that they can carry, like a pocket card, or if the belt is going to be sufficient for that.
Kind of hard to cut the corner off of a belt with,
Right?
Well, that's.
I know.
But yeah, I mean, they're less.
Yeah, absolutely.
These a lot of.
we got
frequently asked.
Plenty of, what time do we have to be out here? 8:30?
Out the door at 8:30.
Out the door, got it. All right, let's go. We can click the next one.
All right.
All right, so this is one of the main focuses that you want to get out to your pack and also to keep in contact with you guys is this link tree. So this link tree here has it's the +1 source of truth coming from national for Cub Scout Live. You have both the program rollout update plus the FAQ, all the details from all these types of meetings that we're doing. We're getting that and questions from it, answering them in more detail on that. So right now it's currently at 8 pages of an FAQ about the new program. But yeah, definitely get this out at the very end. I'll have a handout too that you can send out. And then if you put your email address on there, I'll send you guys an email template that you can also send out to your pack and your unit leaders, parents, kind of get them excited for this next program. But yeah, that's going to be your #1 spot to go to. It's pretty simple. You don't have to update anything. Everything else is updated from that. There's also podcasts. So if you don't watch Cub Chat live on YouTube or Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Spotify will have their podcast applications on there. And all the past episodes too. All right, so this is the rollout and you can't see that. So currently we're in January and you have a handout of this too. And it shows what's coming up and what's being rolled out along with the blue bar up top. Those are the very specifics for Cub Chat Live. That's about an hour-long program that goes into detail of each of those areas for the new program. So again, you can see that, you can talk to your unit leaders about it, share that with everybody. Everything that we're sharing here today is fair game. You can tell everybody about it. There's nothing hidden here that's not appropriate to share. Go ahead. Again, we started this program about 5 years ago. 23,000 scouts or leaders gave us feedback, parents and leaders. So all those surveys that you got over the last few years, meetings, feedback, emails, comments, complaints, safety teams, everybody's been involved in that in the last 5 years to collect all that data. So again, the whole point of this whole new program is to keep it fun, simple, easy. Again, fun for our Cub Scouts, our leaders and parents, simple to understand and explain and support, and easy to deliver as a program. That was one of the big focuses, as you know, is the den leader experience is different from den leader pack to national to across the street, across the schoolyard. It's different for each leader. So they really focused on streamlining that so it's easier to roll the program out. And also, it's simple to understand. A lot of times in the handbook on previous adventures, it would there's technically like 4 or 5 requirements, but then there would be A through F per requirement on top of that. So those were shortened up a little bit more, streamlined and made it more, a little bit more easier to present to the scouts and also the leaders to understand. So the 4 areas of improvements is Bobcat Adventures, Weeblo's 4th and 5th grade program, and then awards. So Bobcat is going to be instead of one set of requirement every single year, Bobcat now has age requirements per year and per rank. So it's going to be different for each rank and it adds on to it. So Lions will be doing one activity and then it grows from there and be responsibility for Bobcat rather than just having one Bobcat. Adventures, there's a lot of inconsistent adventures around each rank. And a lot of our volunteers responded that they wanted more elective adventures. The elective adventures that are coming out is actually doubling the total amount of electives available to the scouts across all of the ranks. The Weeblo's 4th and 5th grade program, it doesn't follow the current pattern of our ranks. Some felt once they got to 5th grade, it was a continuation of the program, but then it was also the continuation of the scout rank. And so now it's going to be completely 2 separate programs. So 4th grades will be Weeblo's, 5th grade will be Aero Lights. And the Aero Lights will have, I believe, only 2 requirements or activities that will be in the scout rank. So there won't be a repeat of that into the scout rank. And then awards. About 1.5% of all of our awards were utilized nationwide by all of our scouts. And so the point of the awards was to have give the experience to the scouts and get them involved into experiencing something that they wouldn't be able to normally experience. And so instead of having these awards and taking the data from it and having something to achieve, those awards are now implemented into all of the elective adventures. So the scouts still get that experience, just not necessarily having to achieve an award that it did later may not have time for, see, and that may not be in their line of sight.
Was the Aero Light 5th grade one, said it's down to 2 being covered again in scout. Did they change that? Our problem with Aero Light is it's always a shortened timeline because it crossed over in February.
So we worked with the BSA committee to make it the exact same timeline. So everybody can graduate or cross over in
Well, no, because like all our other ranks, they go up in May,
Mhm.
right? From Lion to Tiger, whatever,
Right.
but the Aero Lights going to the Scout Concentrics in February, so we're shorting like 3 months, right?
Exactly.
So,
So it's the exact same time frame. So nothing's changing for the time frame of that, so the scouts can actually still cross over in that February. So again, this is you can read that. This is the difference for a Lion Bobcat, a 3rd grade Bobcat, and then the 5th grade Bobcat. And you can see where the examples are. So again, it's something as simple as get to know the members of your den for the Lions, at home with your parent lead guardian, do the activities for the how to protect the child. And then you go to the 3rd grade, start having a little bit more responsibilities, start they learn about the dinner program. They also talk about your do your best, and then it goes in the AOL. It is actually a little bit tougher for the Bobcat. But it's all based on age, and it's going to be different each year, so they don't have to repeat the exact same thing over again.
so
Just
I'm sorry.
no, ask questions.
I don't see Tiger, Wolf, and Weevil. So
It's in there, every single one,
rank,
yeah. I
right?
just threw 3 up on there just so that it is different for each one, but yeah, every single one has a different.
Alright.
Yep. Go ahead, next one. All right. The Jax will pass out, so you can see the fine print on this. These are gonna be all the requirements for all ranks. And again, you're gonna have the 6 requirements plus 2 electives from the program. And each rank Bobcat is designed to be the first activity or the first requirement to be done. You guys can look at that. If you have any questions on that, please let me know. Also on there, you'll see the current electives that are on there. There may be some changes coming up to some of the names, but for the most part, those are what we're looking at for this next year.
Are the requirements of these sufficiently different? One of the big feedbacks we get from the youth, not the families, for 4th and 5th grade is that they've seen it all before and they're too cool for school.
Exactly. So
They're worried that this is gonna be a little too much of we do the same thing every time.
it's changed up a lot. So there's gonna be a lot more activities that are different than, I mean, we just did this in fourth grade, we just did this in third grade. Again, they designed it so that it's different among each rank, and it's not gonna be a repeat of last year. You can go to the next one.
So if the scout joins in fifth grade, do they get to wear their arrow flag on their scout uniform when they cross over?
Yeah, and once they complete the arrow light, yes, they can wear it.
So it's still.
Still goes on the uniform, nothing has changed in that program. So yes, they'd still wear it on their uniform. For the elective adventures, again, doubling the total amount of elective adventures available for the ranks. The bold or the colored in areas, those are all brand new electives added to the program. The other ones are the same exact requirements, or the same exact names and activities, just changed up a little bit to go with the same format that we're doing with the electives. And again, archery, slingshot, shooting sports are still all down there. So one of the things that we also worked on, that I always struggled in my den and pack, was trying to get the pack to do one event that everybody could work on the same thing, but on their different ranks. And so we've expanded a lot of the most common activities out there. One thing that was kind of interesting is when we started looking at all the marketing pictures, there were only two, I think, bears at a bicycling event, and I think it was a wolf that had fishing, but none of the other rates had a requirement. It was just like, well, that's what we always advertise. So if we go to the next one, so there's going to be a common activity for all ranks. So for some of these adventures here, for instance, like Pinewood Derby, running got a regatta, against the race time for all the groups. Fishing, each one has a fishing activity, a cycling activity, and then a swimming activity. So when you're doing pack planning, you could also utilize this, saying, hey guys, we're going to go out and do this event, and this is what we're going to working on, or this is the activity or the adventure that we're going to be working on during that time frame, rather than only one or two dens working on a specific activity. It's going to be a lot easier to plan some of these pack events. Go to the next one. On top of that too, those are some of the big common adventures, but in all of the required adventures, there's going to be common activities. And so the wording you'll see in some of these activities are going to be roughly the same. So for instance, if, they wanted to work on, mountain lion, tigers and wild, paws in the pack, while you guys go out on a hike or visit a park. Again, one of the activities is take a walk outside. And you'll see that common theme across a lot of those activities. Again, where you can do these, like if you have a small pack, trying to get them together to do something, or rather a large pack, there's going to be common activities for required adventures for easier planning. All right, STEM and scouting. So the Nova Awards and the Nova team, they integrated it into our elective adventures. And so there'll be STEM electives now within the each of the handbook. We'll go to the next one. So this is an example of some of the electives, again, for science, technology, engineering, math across all ranks. So again, easy planning for larger events or even a small event where you get the pack together, pack meeting or anything else where you could have a STEM focused event, and also get those scouts interested in doing some STEM activities rather than trying to go after an award that may be out of the den leaders site. The STEM program has also been revised, so it's a lot easier to read. So the STEM activities read just like elective adventures, and it's a lot, I'd say, more efficient to run one of those events. Next one. Here's the new handbooks that are be coming out. One of the top exciting things that everybody tells me about is that there's a spot for someone's name on the front of the handbook. What?
Yeah.
So again, that's again, some people write it on the side and everything else, but it's kind of interesting. Within those handbooks, the lion is going to have the same type of workbook, and now the tiger is going to be a workbook. So it's not going to be that thick handbook anymore. They're each going to be about 64 pages long, and both come with a parent or leader guide to scouting and how to implement that program. So then it's more or less a how-to introduction to scouting, where they still do all of the required activities. Each workbook will have pages in there and activities in there to do those requirements. So if someone just wanted to use that workbook for all of their den meetings, they could do that if they chose so choose. The handbooks themselves, same size, same biome, same diameter of everything. Few pages about the same thickness as the old handbooks. And then again, you'll have Weeblos, and then Arrow Light will have a completely separate handbook. Again, 64 pages on the Tiger handbook. The artwork both for Lion and Tiger is all going to be done by the exact same artist that's doing the Scout Life magazine cartoons in there. So it'll match the same type of format that they have on there. Again, it contains age-appropriate activities that help introduce the topic of an adventure or help complete a requirement for adventure. There's a link to one activity in each book for all the required adventures. And this is just some examples of the Tiger handbook where it's, very much like the Lion handbook, but just more age appropriate, has trackers on it, plus activities and games that they can do for each of the requirements. And then again, the Tiger Adult Partner Guide, resource to onboard the parents. It's an introduction to the Cub Scout program, and it also provides resources of how to deliver the program at home for an four books there from book there, goes everywhere. All right, so this is some pages from the new handbook. This kind of gives an example of the onboarding in the actual handbooks for parents. It kind of expands on what we had in our current handbooks of touching base with your pack, finding out who to contact, get a calendar, what's the form of communication. So that's right at the very beginning. It's going to be more of an onboarding program for the parents, and you can reference that back to when a new scout joins or a new parent joins. Right. And then this is an example of like the Bobcat page. So one of the things that I'm most excited about this program is the resources for our leaders. And in the handbook, you'll see QR codes on each of the requirements, activities, and adventures. What that allows for is a leader can scan that and go ahead and go to the next page. And it'll deliver them to an adventure landing page, which is this page right here. So in case they're reading their handbook and they have some great ideas on how to do the activity, great, no problem. They can do that activity however they want. The new handbooks and the new program is focused on that flexibility of that den leader to choose what they want to do and how to do that activity. If a den leader is stuck or parents like, I don't have time to do all this planning, that's what these resources are going to use. So again, a parent or a den leader could scan that QR code and say, hey, all right, what rank am I looking at here? And it'll take them exactly to the Cub Scout Adventure landing page. They can select the rank. From that rank, from there, it'll bring them over to the second landing page that then gives all the requirements and activities that are up there. Go ahead and click on that next one. From there, they can take a look at some of the adventures that are required up there. It'll give them a snapshot of the adventure. It'll talk about the requirements, just complete these things to do that. Kind of give an overview of, an idea to complete the adventure and how to complete the adventure and requirements. And then one of the new things you'll see this year is the activity cards for requirements. So all activities, all required adventures on these landing pages will have these little activity cards here for each of the adventures. And so they can scroll through and start looking to see, okay, what are some of the activities? What's the level of preparation? What are the level of supplies? What's the level of energy is needed for these activities? So go to the next one. And this is what an activity card will look like for those den leaders. So it gives you your location, indoor, outdoor, or travel, supplies, 1 being none, no supplies are needed, 2, 5 being custom or uncommon or above average, common craft supplies, low cost supplies, prep time, no prep time needed, to more than a week ahead of time. So again, it kind of gives them just a visual of what's going to take to do this requirement. Because a lot of times when we go to try to plan these out, you're like very excited about it, and then you're like, this just took up 8 hours in my week. So hopefully this will give them a different perspective of starting to plan out some of these resources and complete these then meetings. Go to the next one. Once you're inside that activity card, this is the activity to complete one of those requirements for that adventure. So it kind of gives them, again, like some ideas of how to do that, games, activities. And then it also will have different videos on there. So maybe it's a video to show the scouts. Maybe it's a video for the leaders to be like, oh, this is how we can administer first aid, or this is how we can do this program. And these will be available for every single elective, every single adventure out there, and they're gonna go live, in June 1st, as soon as the program launches. So again, homework. Again, it's, communicate with the den leaders about the new program updates and resources for planning, spread the word, share that link. And again, for Webelos, one of the biggest things that we want to focus on is they should be focusing on elective adventures, not any AOL requirements, and that's for fourth grade. Because the AOL requirements will change this next year. And starting June 1st, nothing from the old AOL program will be the new AOL program. And the Cub Scout Live, so 112 and 22 are gonna be two of the upcoming ones. So tomorrow they're gonna go over in detail some of the program updates and some of the more details of the awards and the adventures. And then the big change for Weebles and AOL is coming up on the 2nd.
I'm sorry. Hi, I'm Joe. I asked all the questions. So with Webelos in the fourth grade, we have. And they are both working on adventures kind of at the same time. And all of this was planned out during like last planning cycle.
Absolutely.
So is there any like leeway or flexibility for if they've already spent like 2 to 3 months working on AOL requirements as Webelos?
From what I understand is it won't even be a function of Scout to put that on. And the frustration of the scouts doing this and then having to do something completely different has been talked about. And it's out there and that it's going to happen. Just hoping that the scouting experience is what focus on. But yeah, they've been working, and we know that a lot of people, started in September and then knocked it all out and then they started working on their AOLs. But none of that will exist after.
Is there a reason? I mean, every other change in the past is grandfathers people through.
I have not heard the reason.
The sort of second half of that is for our AOLs, they've got the same 6 required 2 electives and they've got 3 months left to do.
While they're visiting troops.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they're super.
Exactly. Have those electives or have those adventures been tuned all to facilitate getting them done in a shorter time?
Yes.
That's what I.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's it.
Yep, so this exact same time frame. So the BSA's national committee worked with us on that, so that transition, they oversaw some of the electives, had some ideas to make sure that there was not any additional time needed for the AOL.
It'll still pack into the.
Yep.
5 months.
And that's one thing too that is gonna be going out to, I believe, the troops, and also talk about the Cub Chat Live, is that these troops are gonna have packs engaging them a whole lot sooner than they ever have in the past, because again, one of the requirements for the Bobcat of AOL is visiting a troop. So that could be September or earlier that they're visiting rather than Weebles Woods.
And troops need to anticipate scout rank not being in.
Exactly, and so then whoever's overseeing that in the troop, whether it be the troop guide or anybody else, they're gonna have to realize that it's not just a refresher position on some of these requirements. They're actually gonna have to teach them some of these scouting requirements rather than just refresher.
Does tomorrow's update include? At what point will you be able to download a PDF or whatever of all the adventure requirements? To be able to see how they play.
Dude, is what I've been told, but not an exact thing, because they're still tweaking some stuff, but it's coming soon, I believe. Going live. Handbooks are coming out in March 1st. So probably within February, so that I might be able to see some of those digital requirements to see exactly what has changed or anything else, but handbooks will be in the shop in March.
So what did they do to are there any awards left? Did they get rid of all the awards?
The majority of the big awards, yes. They've incorporated those in, but there are still awards that they're still working on. But those haven't still.
You know, have any idea what they're gonna be, like what awards?
I have not seen them at all.
So I'm a technical writer.
Yep.
And I manage communication flows, and can I just provide candid feedback that the absolute information is awful?
Which
Bad. The trickle of information.
Yep.
We've got parents that are speculating and freaking out, and it's just. chill, we've got the information as we can get it.
What information would you want faster?
Really the details about exactly what the awards and adventures are being impacted, especially because a lot of us have done our planning a year in advance.
Absolutely.
To make sure, you know, we can deliver the program and get all set up.
And,
So-
and that's like one of the reasons that the program has changed so much is that there should be less need for so much behind it. But.
Outside average coming.
I think we have a question.
Go ahead. Did you have a question? No, maybe not.
So details of the exact requirements and awards.
And the, yeah, the impact awards and adventures.
Because that's where the rubber meets the road. You
Absolutely.
start thinking about, will this actually work? You start game playing it against where you go camping. All the unit specific.
And all of the camps that are set up for summer, all the leaders from camp have all of this information and they're redesigning their, they've already redesigned most of their camps to this new exact program. So they don't have to, you won't go to camp and then be like, nothing counted. It's very fun this time of year.
But why? Because you don't usually ever do any like required adventures at camp because it's a mess and group.
They gave them everything that is coming out so that they can align whatever they're doing at camp this summer. So that aligns with anything else that may be happening.
We covered a lot of things.
Well, because we've,
Well, especially if we randomly had people.
then we've got the archery and the that's
The elective stuff,
so.
Again, with the resources for our leaders, that's what I'm hoping to see a change in the recruitment of parents. Or I don't have time for this, and then we can actually show them, this is what it looks like. You can actually plan a dinner meeting in 5 minutes.
Yeah, my feedback here is, well, first of all, change is always hard.
Yes.
So like, kudos to everybody driving this, right? And to me, the goals here around, well, simple, easy, fun.
Yep.
The key being simplicity and consistency
Yes.
is paramount. Because at least like, when I'm looking at any of this stuff, so I'm the committee chair for our PAC magazine. So I'm not involved in the trenches of the den leaders and all that, but like, whatever can be done to make it easier to administer is like goal number, well, I should say, goal number 1 is to get kids have fun.
Absolutely.
The second goal is it needs to be easy to administer so that those kids having fun actually happens.
Yes.
Cause like, you know, we may have like a parent today that asks like, oh, we have to do 2 dens because we couldn't, you know, find parents to do the block here.
Right, because a stressed out den leader doesn't
Exactly.
deliver.
So anything that's be done to make the den lead easier is, I think, a good goal to be shooting for. I had a question about the materials that you were showing on the website.
Yeah.
So if I understand that correctly, all of the materials that someone needs to plan an adventure are on the website?
For everybody, not just them. So they can scan out of their handbook, even the parents.
So that's like a godsend, because like we've never really used the paper handbook so much, and even like the digital one is like a 300-page PDF or something that would tell somebody to go to like, find your particular adventure, you know, print it out and do it that way.
Right.
And then like.
There's
the
great
different-
websites out there that have all these activities and you're going from website to website trying to do this, or you get lucky and you have a den leader that you follow and they go, here's my binder.
In fact, when I joined scouting, you know, just like 4 or 5 years ago, I was like incredulous that like, wait, it's a paper guide in the year 2018. Anyway, and so then the other question I had is there is the Den Leader Experience web application.
It is good.
You don't do that.
Because it's been a real challenge for our den leaders who have shared.
It was like my first feedback when I was on this committee in my time. I knew here, who get rid of that. It's terrible.
Yeah. So anyway, this is kind of Ian rambling all over the place. But the main thing is that the materials being on the website is a huge deal.
Yeah, and we went back and forth like 100% digital, 100% handbook, and went with both because again, someone did not have access to internet.
Okay,
So
yeah.
have this.
Or having it in.
You always end up web searching it, so it's good to actually get a scouting board instead of scouting off.
Exactly. I mean, there's some, again, we work with a lot of those bloggers from these sites to come up with different activities for this. And the team's been busy shooting videos and how-tos. But again, that's what I'm excited about because we haven't developed that yet, but I'm hoping to make like a, den leader recruitment, parent recruitment, that kind of thing inside here. here's the program, how easy it is, and maybe even have like a breakout session where, here you go, parents, plan a meeting real quick. And they can see how easy it is to plan that, so then they go, oh, it's actually not too hard to be in.
I do have to say, I mean, as much as I have some concerns over impacts on, and I think overrepresented in this room,
Yeah.
large packs that do everything and use all
Exactly.
the awards and whatnot, and lots of this kind of sucks for us.
Absolutely.
But I do see the benefit of this for, as membership chair, for packs that have 15 kids and basically 2 dens and basically nobody that really understands scouting.
Exactly, and a lot of it, you know, this phrase den leader line of sight was a lot of this, where if a den leader didn't know about Nova or Summertime Award, they're not gonna go after it. Unless someone else tells them, or it might be a brand new pack, or I don't have time to do this because I'm planning out these meetings that are taking up 6 to 8 hours of my time a month.
I did see a statistic, one of the last meetings I was in, the awards were only being used about 1% of the time anyway. Yeah.
1.5 for the entire US. And then there was also a survey and on what's it? Not engagement, but like the building, I'm not sure what that words, but awards. Oh, attachment rate. The awards, they had attachment rate of like 2 to 5%, whereas electives had an attachment rate of like 25 to 30%. So more people were excited about the electives than going after the awards. It's what's some of the surveys saying, some of the data.
So as the committee chair of a super achiever pack, tons of our scouts are like all in for doing all of it, which might be impossible. So that's a little sad. But at the same time, I did have a question about Nova.
Yes.
We have an amazing Nova program. And seeing that it's going to be incorporated into the
Adventures.
the adventure, yes, sorry. Is there still any sort of standalone recognition for that work?
The Nova team's still working on it.
Okay.
So there is, again, the whole point is of scouting is to have these scouts experience things that they're not used to. Give them that opportunity to do a science experiment or something that they wouldn't just do. So then putting some of that into the program is great. They're still working on, should there be a separate program still, or is it completely going away? How are we still having the high achieving packs go after something different? So we're still working on it.
A question I've been asked a lot and see a ton on Facebook groups and whatnot is about the knife skills. And even the wording you use is a little concerning in that what people really want to know is, are 3rd graders going to be allowed to use pocket knives? And what happens when you get that in barrier, rank up and show up at camp, where you're no longer allowed to use them at camp until you happen to go by that station on the last day?
They're still debating the logistics on how that's gonna work, where it's like, you know, can you carry your pocket knife, you know, to camp like that because you just earned it, but you haven't done that part this year? Or is it gonna be no, you need to do it every single day? So they're still trying to work out the
The
logistics.
amount of tears that will
Absolutely.
cause is insane.
And again, it's not gonna be, when I've talked to the safety team, it's not gonna be, you know, we're not shooting for confiscated pocket knives for people that don't have the ability because their den chose to do that one later versus this one. But they're still working on how that exactly is going to roll out.
Because most dens don't meet between rank up and
No.
summer camp.
Absolutely. Other questions? Or what, so yeah, communication, you want the full program sooner, is what you're saying?
Yeah,
Yep.
or if there's a big chunk, rather than like, here's a piece of it and hold off on this until we get more information, like if you can present like a coherent block of it in one go, it's better than be like, what about this one thing?
What coherent block would you like to see first?
Well, I mean, so that, the feedback that I've gotten is most of the words things. Like the awards are changing, the awards are going away, the awards are being incorporated. Oh, so at this point, we're kind of in this tough spot of the awards are going away.
Right.
On
And
Supernova, get it this year.
yeah. Got a ton of kids who are in Supernova that like bear with, yep.
Buy a bunch of medals.
This- The scout shop will still have all of that, so all the awards, insignia, that stuff will still be in the scout shop until they're gone. There'll be a set date at some point, but they're not gonna just be like June 1st, take all stuff away, because a lot of stuff gets done and then delivered in the fall, so that stuff will still be available, but the handles on June 1st will be gone.
Yeah, the requirements are just like what it matters, like, I don't think anyone's really gonna take for granted that 8 AOL adventures make sense until we see that there are only three requirements wrong and one of them is saying pledge or something.
The current one, which are
Yes, and again, work side by side with the BSA team to ensure that there was no additional time needed for the block chunk and astro communication, or just more detailed communication.
just more, like, when you have more details to give, do it all in one. Like, to me, it's better to hold off a week rather than be like hinting at stuff.
Yeah.
Because then the hinting at stuff gets people talking and talking gets people worried.
I guess, I'm just hearing these concerns, I'm kind of interested because like nobody in my pack has even talked about this topic. And, even when I was seeing this stuff coming down the pipe, I'm like, all right, it's the new program that starts next year.
Well, that was kind of my thought, is I'm sitting here again, as a technical communicator, I'm like, cool, we're gonna have this by next year. We're not gonna
Well,
go
by
live.
annual planning event.
Yeah. We should do that, and everybody else is like, we want to know now because they're starting the conversation. So the, I think,
This is the fourth change I've seen for the program. So I'm like, yeah, great, new program, cool, let's do it.
a lot of the people who are joining, especially new volunteers and stuff, they're like, all right, how is this gonna be different than what I originally signed up for?
Personally, I'm kind of bobcatting. I mean, I understand the change, but I like the traditional bobcat first and the whole,
Absolutely.
we had the whole word ceremony thing for it and everything. And now
And again, nothing like that should change. So if your pack is doing a huge Bobcat event where you're handing those out, don't change that. Do that
Yeah, but what
anytime.
would that mean?
it's different. though.
It's
You only do it like the first time you
Yeah,
earn.
normally you only do it the first time. I mean.
Well, you do, yeah, first time.
It would be weird to bobcat someone 5 times.
5 times.
Yeah.
I do have to say that is kind of nice, because our pack has been doing essentially back to Bobcat as the sort of intro adventure
Back to
every year,
Bobcat.
just reminding the kids like names.
Right. Yeah, that's gonna be a culture change for a lot of packs, is how that Bobcat. The aims of making it better, reach of the scouts, not gonna be the exact same stuff.
Have they changed any of the reservation requirements?
And you know, Trey's team, has been a part of this, that's changed. Also, the same.
The threaded change is the way to find out everyone's specific hobby horses.
But again, everything I've seen so far, I'm very excited, that's being a part of the committee. Because I started off in the committee when I was a den leader. And so, being on the committee and saying, hey, that's terrible, that's not gonna work for a den leader or a brand new den leader. Here's what I'm gonna try this weekend. So I got to experiment with some of our dens on some of these topics and way to do it. And so it was fun to take this new program, test it in our dens, and then come back with the feedback and saying, hey, this is good, this needs to be changed. Or it's like get that feedback and somebody else would add on to it.
So you were actually piloting adventures in.
Yes,
Yeah, that's great.
it was fun. And so originally our den.
And those kids are guinea pigs at that point.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So our parents was like, hey, just FYI, we're doing Cub Scouts and Cub Scouts data, you know. It was fun. Like one of the things we did when I was taking the Nova Awards on the committee I was on, trying to make it into a requirement or an adventure, is we took the Blue the Builder activity or adventure and combined it with the technology STEM group or the requirement or the adventure, and I kind of blended them together. And so what we did was they built a balancing beam, and it was like maybe yay high off the ground, 2x4s, nails. So they got to do that, measure, saw, cut, build that. And then once they were done with that, then the second meeting, then we introduced a VR headset and talked about VR. And in that VR headset, there's an application called Richie's Plank Experience, where we put it on and you can actually measure in VR a physical object. And so they were learning how to measure this balance beam in VR. And then once it was set, then you got to go up the elevator and then have this plank coming off of a skyscraper. And then they were sitting there like balancing, trying to grab cupcakes, spiders coming out of them, falling off of it, sweaty palms. Parents came and tried it out too. And so it's kind of like this, all right, could this work? Could we blend the two? I mean, that's an extreme example where there's not a VR headset available for everybody, but could you make it into a 1 or 2 den meeting approach? And yes, but things have to change. Some things have to be more added.
With the streamlining, the changes to the adventures, are there any hard adventures left? Like when the Fix-It went in a previous wave of changes, it was a bit of a shame because there's often, 1 or 2 Super Scouts in
Yeah.
the family or in each den. And it was good to be able to send them towards the one that was the bottom.
Yeah.
Gave them a chance to dig their teeth in.
Let me get back to you on that. I'll look at all the requirements and adventures and see which ones are, a harder activity.
Because that was one thing before, is they were not all the same.
Yeah.
There was the easy ones, and just like merit badges, there's
Right.
for every, I don't remember the hard one, but there's the fingerprinting. Fingerprint.
Cooking is the new hard merit badge.
Yeah.
Just changed on
Because they keep adding,
January 1st. Yes.
but you can still do fingerprint in 2 hours. or
Yes.
whatever, so.
Yeah, I'll get back to you on that to see which one is one of the hardest.
Hours.
Okay, questions, or what would you like to see for this rest of this rollout?
So is the world conservation, that's new then? That's a new adventure on there?
Yes. Okay. And again, with that, that's one of the awards being moved into an activity.
Oh, right. And,
Yes.
I like that, the race time one, so we always done time very regattas and you get a segment or whatever, but
Right.
never tied into their interesting out tied into an adventure. That's
Right, and I didn't realize, being a scout here in the Northwest, when I was a scout, I thought the segments were just everywhere. It's just here.
that's just, that's, yeah, I'm from Southwest, so I did that.
I do really like changing the shooting
Yeah.
awards into selected.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a lot better.
Yeah. And again, we have the feedback of, we love badges, we love to hang stuff, and so, again, that group too, that's upset about that.
I'm a passionate nerd, so I understand.
Absolutely.
Well, the summertime award was such a big pocket flap. That was really big and eye catching, and I thought, that's a shame. So that one's completely gone away, right? Are they giving something else to be a pocket flap?
I haven't seen that yet.
They need, if they get rid of the pocket flap, they need to replace it with a different pocket flap of some kind.
Put that in my.
Maybe a
feedback.
lift and shift that's actually allowed to be, instead of just.
Something, but
When do we flap?
if they get rid of the flap, they need to replace, because,
Something's gonna happen.
because Scout PSA has got thorough ways and everything else, but there's nothing for Cub Scouts except for that.
But to this point, one of the things for the rollout is, that you said here that I haven't heard elsewhere, is that new awards are coming, that the concept of awards is not gone.
Concept awards is not gone. They're trying to figure out what that looks like. Where it's like, we got rid of rewards to replace it with awards. They're not trying to do that, but they're trying to figure out what exactly that looks like.
So speaking of the summertime award thing, so with the program starting in June 1st, if lines join June 1st, will there be, like, because right now, that's compared to the situation where we had Lions join as soon as they could, based on the moments when. And then none of them were eligible for the summertime award, which left two of our families. So is there gonna be room for that with Lions joining during this?
I don't know, but I can back to that.
That'd be great.
Because again, like you said, you have a planning pack and you have planning parents and you want to do this kind of stuff. Otherwise, it could be all water and stuff.
The opponent bosses are getting cheaper. They could-
I am this close. to
Build a
buying an
gap.
embroidery machine.
Also, on that.
I have an embroidery machine and I've made some custom patches for little special things, and they're fun, but. Are there any adventures that might work around, like the scouting for food or other kinds of, community service events?
I believe so. There's, I believe on, some of the Bobcat requirements, for the older ranks are community service related. They have like the 1-2 line of, requirement there.
Cool.
But,
So a lot of Bobcats might actually not get earned at the beginning of the year.
Absolutely.
Sort of, like, we can refresh how to say the law, but we're doing
and again, what happens when you have a-
whatever
yeah, yeah.
volunteer thing in November.
And again, you're gonna have your regular scouts and then you're gonna have your recruited scouts
Yeah.
that start 2 months after the program. You have to get all cat again with them. And so that's gonna be something that. Especially on AOLs, because again, if you plan this troop visit, and then you have a scout that joins, and then they're gonna have another troop visit at some point. Whether it's with their pack or, and
One thing for PAC planning, that to be more focused on picking activities for volunteers that are actually. I'm not sure what the adjective is, but the conjoined collectives, like. There
common event.
probably will really be a big
there- if there
recycling
are
event
those
every year
things,
instead of
exactly.
just when the tiger.
The Tigers one.
Cause it was Tiger.
Right,
Just when the Tiger Den leader really did a big one and invited all the business.
exactly.
Which I think is gonna be great, because yeah, that was a huge thing, and we have the Tiger bike rodeo, and a bunch of other scouts would show up. They wouldn't get anything out of it,
Right.
but they'd have a lot of fun.
And it's funny because you know, you look at all the marketing and it's got all this stuff, but then there's like 1 or 2 things that actually.
Yeah.
Do the pictures.
So I am very eager for that. I
Yeah.
love the continued themes, even there, exactly the same, like. So.
And again, the safety committee's been involved in all this. So again, even though we have swimming available for Lions, the safety committee's been involved in that, and some of the requirements that they have, are,
It's very a lot.
touch water.
Should you breathe water?
Draw water. But yeah, that's to me, that's being able to have these common activities where you can go out as a group and then scouts can have that consistency working with each other towards the same requirement. Rather than coming to the bike rodeo. Getting it. Other questions?
I don't know who comes up with the names for all these adventures. Some of them are pretty good. I know if it was my job, I would just be looking at a blank piece of paper going, not that.
Yeah, and sadly, this was all done when we were converting a lot of stuff and rewriting a lot of stuff. Was pre-Chappy GPT, so.
No,
You can't just come up with a name.
Couldn't have a little helper with anything, give me a funky name. So there was no cheat sheet on doing a lot of these. I'm trying to see if there's any in here.
Are the ones that have the same name really having the same name, or is that like a placeholder? Like, is Let's Camp really just Let's Camp across all of the age groups?
Yeah, it's Let's Camp.
Whereas
Across all-
like,
yeah.
fishing one changed its name.
Yeah, so there's a couple of them that have the exact same name, race time's the exact same, Let's Camp's the same, but then, yeah.
It might make, it might make our email headers easier. You say, let's camp. Applies to every.
And then also within the handbooks too, if you flip on the back side of the handbook, it actually has, all of the, adventures listed on the back and activities. And you can get to those faster by flipping through where they're at. It's more of a little organizational feature on that. And then they're also split up by the aims and needs. How to leadership character.
Very specific question, but like the QR code in the handbook, the way it was described, it was just gonna bring it to a landing page. Is it basically gonna be the same QR code on all the different pages, or is it actually gonna take you to that adventure?
It'll take you to that adventure. Yeah, like,
Those
ooh, I'm
have
just
to
gonna
be
keep scanning this
really
same one over and over again. No, it's different ones. So up there, just for to show the landing page, yeah. But yeah, you scan on that, it's gonna take you to Bobcat, it's gonna take you to that's.
And the rank that.
Yep.
Is this, printout available like online?
Yeah, this is all.
parts of that is online.
Okay, I just want like this page available to just send out. So I
So-
really like this format.
The,
This image.
I just like-
so this image is 100% legal. This is
Released information.
questionable.
Oh, this is probably in the tomorrow's requirements.
Yes. So, again, everything, if you click on,
Tomorrow in Japan.
yeah, if you click on that, Cub Chat Live, if you go to the Scout page off that link tree, what's there is what's available to the public. And then, I just needed some more talking points on like, I'm sharing this. Yeah.
So for the Cub Master, is there a separate guidebook for him and for planning and packing?
There is not a separate guidebook for that. There's gonna be online trainings though, that are changing up for a lot of the leader positions.
So are they gonna have like suggestions for each month and correlated to like when the scout law?
Like
Is it a
suggestions
legit-
for like, hey, trainings for this month should be this for,
Well, like, so our pack used to have, January was always trustworthy and February was, you know, we go through the scout law.
Yeah.
At each pack meeting, we have a different
gotcha.
scout law. Are they gonna emphasize that at all on scout and pack meetings in the future, or?
That would be up to each pack if they're gonna focus on that during the meetings, but the trainings themselves are just more to be leadership.
So the Cub Master's gonna kind of have plus, right?
No, it should be the same. Nothing's changing with that. All the same trainings will be on there. You're talking about just like a program overview for the new Cub Masters or whatnot?
Yeah,
Let me see what we can find on that.
I don't think, in the example themes were never tied to the event.
yeah, well,
The closest was like, you know, a lot of Wheel Days, a lot of tags did, Bear Carnival. Blue and Gold during the Wheel Days, but that was as close, I think, as they were.
So would you like to see like a 50,000-foot calendar of, as a Cub Master, just a generic, like, this month you should be focusing this on your program, this month you should be focusing on this kind of themes, and something like that with the new program?
I think she's referring to like, isn't there today a like Cub Master pack meeting planning
Yes.
thing?
Right.
And-
A lot of those trainings are all being revised. I've not seen what those trainings look like.
But that's not training, or version.
Yeah, I don't think-
For the-
I don't
for the-
think that's what was
I think it's
updated.
like a plan, like September was your theme.
I think I've only ever noticed that it exists.
I think it's a variable. It may still be on shelf, but I don't think.
I'll get back to you to see, I'll get with supply to see if there is, if that is in the works. to
Well, 'cause
update
one of
that.
the- one of the nice things about that is that, you know, like our Cub Master talks to the den leaders and tries to figure out, is there themed activities or adventures that you're doing this certain month that we can tie into the pack
Right.
meeting?
So you can do the common activities or whatever. for
Exactly.
the pack meetings.
So if there was sort of a reference guide to, these are commonalities, and then associate them somewhat maybe with an aspect of the scout law or something. that would ease that organizational burden.
Would you like to see like a color coded, some sort of a technical document where it's like, these are outdoor, these are leadership development.
That'd be
these are-
grand. Yeah, if there was,
Yeah.
sort of keywords almost for each adventure as far as like. If there's, because already, we're looking at the program provided, the six kind of primary goals of it. So for the electives, have those, you know, one might be personal fitness and also personal safety. So that way, if we have a focus for a certain month or certain time period.
Yeah, like say if your pack chooses to do, hey, we're gonna focus on, safety this month or something like that, then we could be like, okay, what's under, what has this?
What's the safety adventure for bears? What's the safety adventure? for
Right.
Tigers?
I think you're on here.
Well, those, but like the electives as well.
So you, okay, so you want.
You're almost going backwards though, is we found, you know, one den leader needs a visit from the fire department, and they brought one
Yeah.
in, what can everyone else do with the firefight?
Yeah.
While they're in the building, you know, like, as
So
long
I
as
think
that
that's
person,
noted, yeah.
So we can do.
Because you mentioned that like with the one where go on a walk is
Yes,
kind of a thing. So if we can highlight stuff like that commonality.
What I don't think will be official, but eventually people work out some suggestions of, well, if you do try to do a hike for all 5 ages, how do you make it so that the AOLs are not, knocking themselves?
And that's one thing we've discussed actually recently, where having a Cub Chat live topic of how to conduct a common activity with your whole pack. So you go on a hike, how do you have the AOLs hike 3 to 5 miles and the Lions hike 300 to 500 feet kind of? And what does that look like? And then having maybe some examples and resources that can help with planning like that. Yeah,
I guess the last thing that occurs to me is for some of the missing words, it's okay to do local things, like the way that your pack has hiking club and made up all sorts of hiking things. If they never bring back some of them. Some kind of,
Summer activity.
if the summer activity award is just gone,
Be your own
we
thing.
can just make our own.
Haha.
And if enough packs like it, sell it.
I can't.
Next to the segments.
We can roll our own program.
Well, it's not rolling the program, it's
Yeah.
just that if a pack really misses an award, you can basically on top of results.
anything else you'd want that your parents are asking for besides your pack?
It's very vocal.
Well, yeah, what are they looking for when they're coming to you with issues about the program or timeframes or anything else? Is there anything else that you want to see from the program that's a resource to PACs, STEM leaders, Scrum masters?
I've heard Scout Book's going away. Do you know anything about that?
It is not.
It's not going away? Because Mike keeps on telling us that Scout Book's going away.
No, it's not.
Well, that's separate from this,
But
It's
it's
being
still,
re-implemented on top of internet.
as in an advancement.
but you keep on telling me Scout Book's going away.
And
so I have-
eventually the name is gonna slide.
No, it's coming, June 1st, everything will change in the Scout Book.
The Scout Book is not going away. Okay,
Just the calendar.
just the calendar.
Yeah.
Okay.
You wait for a couple of years.
June 1st is what I'm focusing on, nothing else.
I'm actually recruiting right now.
We need to be outside the door.
Well, that's.
Thank you, everybody.
Question mark, because the custodian, and my laptop is still recording. Ray, did you hit record?
Yeah.
Awesome, thanks. It's still recording and it's in the library. But I can disassemble the. Actually, I can have the projector and the power cord back.
So are you also using here then?
I was, we just crossed over to